Hi, it's Mrs. Hickson again. We're on part 4, but I wanted to do a little bit of explaining on part 4. When we had worked on my grades the first time, I had you just enter a if-then statement. You just typed it in as is. But today, I want to show you how to actually use the if-then sequence in Excel. What we did before now is that we know that Lauren needs to figure out if her savings her surplus or loss is in a safe range. And what we've done is on step 11 and 12 is we want to use 10% as the important number. So if I look at Lauren's budget, we had calculated 2.4. We had done that earlier in the other one where we took this amount in row P. We went ahead and calculated this amount divided by income to find out if we had enough money in our savings. Okay, so I need to make an if-then statement in Q. Now, rather than just typing in a formula, I'm going to go ahead and use some logical information. A couple different places I can look. If I click on, I'm in Home here. We can go over in Home. We can look at the if-then statement in conditional formatting, but I would rather go into my formulas. If I go into formulas, I can go into something called my logical formula. This is going to have me answer a couple of different questions. I can go there. I can also go in my function. If I click on my function, I can also click in here and do the if. So there's two different places to do it. So if I want to, I'm going to use my function. We've been doing that for a little while. And I'm going to say if. It says if I have a test, a logical test, I'm either going to give a true statement and I'm going to give a false statement. So I'm going to say OK. Now here's my logical test. It automatically starts my process up. It says equals if. It wants the logical test. My logical test, according to step 11, is asking if the percentage in P is 10% or greater, I'm going to say it's safe. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So if this amount, P26, is greater than or equal to 10%, and a lot of times I go ahead and put my decimal. I'm going to see what happens if I put here 10%. If it's greater than equal to 10%, I'm going to say something. Now look what it automatically did. It automatically said, wait a second, it's not greater than 10%, it's only 2.4, so it's automatically false. It's telling me what the computer knows. I still have to tell it a true statement. If it was, because remember in Excel I could be changing my amounts anytime. If it's true, I'm going to say in safe range. If it's false, I'm going to say not in safe range. Okay? And I can hit OK. Now, it automatically took that information and said not in safe range. Now, I'll tell you, it's supposed to be in Q. A couple things I can do, right? I can go ahead and I can format my cells. And I can wrap the text, or I can change my alignment. It's a little slow today. Wow, it's real slow. And I can click wrap text on that if I wanted to. Hit OK. Now it says not in safe range, because it isn't. It's kind of dangerous there. All right, and I'm going to save it as Lauren's budget 4 on that. Okay? All right, and that's all we have to do, but I wanted to show you a different couple of ways to do it, and this is really cool because, again, you don't have to use your mind. You can set it up to answer those questions for you and tell you whether or not you're in a safe area. The other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead, remember I copied 15 and I took everything out, but I wanted to keep the formulas. I'm going to go ahead and copy. And I'm going to go jump into 15. Everything's 0. And I'm going to come over to go ahead and click in there so I have those automatic numbers. I also forgot to add this one over. Get those added. And then I was also going to go ahead and put that formula in there too, because I hadn't done that when we moved it over. Now, don't worry about this. You're saying, what the heck does that mean? It means there's no numbers. It doesn't matter. It says you can't divide by 0. We're going to leave that like that because, remember, it'll start changing when I enter information. It's just telling me that in math, as you know, you can't divide by a 0. So I'm going to go ahead and hit adding right there. Now we've gone ahead and fixed it. It's all set. And just to be sure, I want to also remind you, we want to use that INYA. Remember how we did that? We took our control and we clicked on the INYA, like in Spanish. And if I do that, I can see, yep, I've got formulas. I didn't just add those things up. I actually have formulas. And I can just go ahead and undo the INYA just to make sure. Because that's what Mrs. Hickson is going to do when you submit your document. I need to verify that you indeed are doing the formulas and you're not just typing them in. All right? So you have 14, the original numbers. You have 15, which is blank, but it has all of the totals in there. And we're going to go ahead. And one last thing, you're going to want to insert, because you changed it to Lauren's budget, you're going to want to insert a header, footer, and you're going to put your name here. Okay, just like that. And you're ready to submit it. Awesome job. Thanks so much for watching.